good.
Well, I just want to create a quick little rant here and talk about an earlier comment I had where I had this person demand I take a video down. Where do these nerds get off? Where do they get this sense of entitlement? And this kind of is going to incorporate into the message of my video because I think it is a result of being programmed into believing you're no longer a human being. You're a consumer. They call you consumers. And you've heard that old tired line. The consumer is always right, or rather is the customer is always right. Bullshit. Especially that I'm in the culinary field myself. You have these people that they're not throwing around a lot of coin. This ain't no fine dining restaurant, honey. So why are you complaining so much? Ultimately, they want the food for free. That's their master plan. But they think they can tell you what to do and talk to you any old way because they got a little bit of green in their pocket because the customer's always right. And it's so funny when they get so incredulous. When you tell them no. What?
I'm going to give you a bad Yelp review. And then I'm going to tell all my friends. And I'm going to report you to the Board of Health. I'm going to shut it down. Because I'm right. I'm a customer. Customer's always right. And you're telling me I'm wrong.
You're an asshole. That's what I'm trying to tell you in so many words. You're a dickhead. Get the fuck out of here. Sorry to use strong language, but it does trigger me. I've had my run-ins with these people. Real quickly, I got to tell this story. It's one of my favorite stories. But I was training to become a manager of this one shop, and my direct supervisor, he had notoriously bad temper, and it was awesome because it was a really bad neighborhood. And yeah, we had a promotional item. It was a $5 burger, and it took a lot of time and prep to make them have this luxury of a $5 burger, believe it or not, because it was a halal establishment, and so we had halal meat sourced, and it's more expensive than your regular everyday meat because it's according to a religious standard, and we kneaded it ourselves. Well, what I'm trying to say is, you take a bit of the meat, you form it into a ball, and then you got to press it into the mold. Then you would freeze it, and then you'd have it readily available, so it would store longer. But it was pretty good. Salt, pepper, a little bit of garlic. Amazing. Cook it on the flat. But this $5 burger, I remember this one guy, he comes in, and he was a pain in the ass. And he would come in and want all these modifications. So I'm cooking the thing. And he's like, hey, can you take the pickles off of it and put this on top of it? And can you put half and half of this sauce? And can you only put a little bit of pepper and this and that and this and that and this and that? And for the most part, we tried to cater to him. But the catalyst and the tipping point for my supervisor was when he said, he gets the food, right? And then he's like, can you cut it in half? And my supervisor goes, you want it? He had that New York accent, but he was from a different country, but he still had it. And he goes, you want it cut in half? Okay, no problem. And he grabs a plastic fork and he slams it on the counter in front of him. There you go. Cut it in half yourself. And the guy looked at him like, what the fuck? And he's like, $5 burger, man. Wow. Talk about inspiration. But aside from that, these nerds, man, it's not like we can do anything about it. They rule YouTube. Broadcast yourself, right? And I'm not one to compare viewer count, but this person in particular had maybe 1 or 2 subs. So he's a lurker. I have no problem with lurkers. Hey, you're online, you're not a content creator, obviously, but you like to view other people's videos. No problem. No beef there. But what is your purpose in life when all you do is log on to complain? Think you're a YouTube hero, think you have this power, this imaginary power where you can feel like you're contributing towards the shutdown of a channel by reporting it. For no other reason than disagreeing with the content creator, and you feel like you can shut it down. I think it's because of this damn programming in our brains where we think we're a consumer. We're no longer human beings. We're just an NPC consumer. But here's another thing, and this goes into it, it's come out by extremely credible researchers that the culinary industry and the interest of it, especially in the 60s and 70s, and all these cooking shows that came online, that became part of the daily programming on television, was a very clever attack. How so? Well, because it is all part of the master plan of a one world government and globalism. How so? Well, because by funding this kind of industry, suddenly me in Nevada, I can have Kobe beef. Because that's globalism, baby. It creates an artificial demand. I would never know what Kobe beef is unless I had the privilege of flying and actually visiting Japan. But now I can demand it. Hell, I can even have it shipped to my house. And it taxes the local resources of whatever place on this world that creates a certain or manufactures a particular product. It creates an artificial demand and it taxes the resources because they have to keep up with this demand. For example, I don't remember ever hearing the word arugula in the 90s and most of the 2000s. I don't. And now it's a common household name. Why? Globalism, baby. The point is, I think there's another thing to consider. Obviously, the food looks more appealing by trying to make it seem as though it tastes like an animal product, looks like an animal product. And I'm not knocking this particular gentleman's hustle. He's obviously very talented, very knowledgeable. And in terms of his field, he understands that people, as they tell us all the time, you eat with your eyes, right? And he's extremely talented. He's very sophisticated in his setup. It takes hours upon hours. You think about it, you got to have all these cameras set up, all running simultaneously, and then you got to pick through that individual footage, and then you got to edit it, and you got to put all these filters on it, and the timing has to be perfect in order for the video to flow. It's a lot of work. And so, hats off to him. He's very artistic. His vision is amazing, and he's got a book out. Not going to knock another man's hustle. Okay? No beef with him there. Beef. But yeah, it's sad. It's sad. And there's another angle to all of this. And so you might not feel so much pity with these people anymore. Especially as you know that YouTube is promoting them. YouTube is promoting this lifestyle because it's part of the globalist agenda to deny you access to your most basic sources of nutrition. That is the ultimate goal. As it has been pointed out by others, they're not after the factory farms because the factory farms will morph into another industry easily. They're after the homesteaders. They're after the tiny little plot owners that just, raise a couple goats, raise a couple cows, have chickens on their land. They're going to take that away. You got to license all these animals. You got to make sure they have their vaccinations up to date. This and that and this and that. Permit for this, permit for that. Tax for this, tax for that. and they squeeze you out of existence. So don't feel so much pity for them anymore, and start to regard them as agents. Why? Because another reason why they're making this food appear as though it is an animal product is eventually that's the way it's going to be. You will no longer have the animal product in your food, especially as more and more establishments catch on to this trend, this artificial trend that veganism is the way of the road, that it's the most healthy lifestyle for humans to have. It's a trick. Slowly but surely, and keep in mind, these people do not plan in terms of 1, 2, 5, 10, even 20 years. They think in terms of centuries, baby. Because their guiding light, if you will, has been on this earth since its inception. If you get what I'm saying. Their guru, their ultimate guru. And so he doesn't think in terms or experience time as us mortal humans do. He's got a lot of time, very patient. So it might not even be in our lifetime, but definitely in our children's children. And I pray it gets to that point where we do have children's children. But ultimately, you're not going to even have products or food that is forced upon you by the state. It's not going to even look like anything because you won't have any recollection or living memory of what it used to look like. It's just going to be that bowl of gruel or maybe a drip feed. I don't believe in evolution, but maybe we will look like those damn gray aliens. Frail ass, tiny vegan arms and a giant ass head, big ass eyes. Bio machines. Whatever. So anyway, where do we go from here? And screw you, nerd, that wants to shut me down, report my material, whatever. Can't stop you. But where do we go from here? Just acknowledge the fact that there's another angle to all of this. There always is. The enemy is attacks from so many angles that you can't see. This is why, you need the protection of your Creator at all times. And I'm not trying to become religious here. I'm just saying the enemy is very cunning. And that's my little pet theory as to why it appears to look like animal products. It's been the intention and design for a long time because ultimately they're going to remove the appearance of an animal product because the living memory will be destroyed. Cheers and God bless everyone. Take care. Be good to one another. I think somebody said that before, my bad. But peace. Cheers.